Last night we had the man stalking in the dugout, preparing for his start. Tonight, a simple man, calmly waiting for his first Citi Field start in 13 months, looking to back up what his buddy Max Scherzer did last night in stifling the Braves. And on a day that was very stormy about an hour and a half ago, tarp off the field, weather has cleared. Jake threw his first throw in the outfield at 7:05. He had to time it just right. Usually it's 6:45, but a 20-minute delay. So he's right on the clock and ready to go for his first home start of 2022.
Well, not only Max, 12 1/3 scoreless yesterday from David Peterson and Max Scherzer, but Max was outstanding last night, going 7 innings.
For Jacob deGrom, his 200th career start today, and he'll be pitching in the sunshine. And as you know, he has been a sunshine Superman. I'm not sure that I knew that there were that many Leonard Skinner fans in New York.
That was sweet. Ronnie Van Zant and the boys of Leonard Skinner.
Well, that is something else.
That was
getting a standing ovation throughout his warm-ups. And this crowd looking for 4 out of 5 against the Braves, and with their hero back on the mound, pumped.
Am I the only one that got chills?
No.
Dansby Swanson leads off. First pitch of the day from deGrom is hit out to right field. Starling Marte right there waiting for it. One pitch and 1 out for deGrom, and that's how this game gets underway. 86 degrees at game time. You noted by Swanson leading off. No Acuna in the lineup for the Braves. He has been scratched with lower body soreness. Kind of a curious thing in a game of utmost importance to the Braves, but that's how the Hyundai starting lineup looks for Atlanta, with Swanson, Olson, and Riley sacked at the top. No Travis d'Arnaud, who hurt his leg last night. And so Contreras doing the catching. Here's Olson hitting second in the order, 5 for 16 in this series. And the first pitch fastball at 101 miles an hour is in for a strike.
This is deGrom's 26th career start against the Atlanta Braves. His first 25 ERA, 1.96.
And just to further that, it's his 12th start against the Braves at Citi Field. In the first 11, his ERA 1.30. And he's 3-3.
Well, that makes sense too.
Well, that's been the theme of his career, hasn't it? Swing and a miss. Another 101, and it's 1-2.
This is how he started out in Washington. His first start, triple digits on the gun.
Began that start with back-to-back strikeouts. And he's got his first of this game at 102 as he fans Olson for the second out. Career strikeout number 1,512 He needs 6 more today to have the most strikeouts ever in a pitcher's first 200 career starts. Yu Darvish has the record at 15-17. DeGrom now at 15-12. Sheer heat to get Olson. 2 out. Here's Austin Riley.
Had to be Olson's first at bat against DeGrom. What an overmatch.
3 straight fastballs.
Great hitter, just overmatched.
Riley's seen him before, and Riley has 2 home runs against DeGrom. 12 career at bats.
Well, 3 hits, 2 of them home runs.
And Riley fouls back the fastball. Routine triple digits in the first inning for Jake. Those were his numbers in day games. Best in history. And the shadows aren't even out yet. Off the corner with a fastball, 2-1. Shadow of the light stanchions just now reaching the third baseline, but both pitcher and hitter still in the sunlight. And that will change as the late afternoon moves along. Riley 3 for 15 in this series. And he goes after the first slider thrown by DeGrom, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, they're looking on the fastball. You saw Swanson jump on the first pitch fastball.
Two. Struck him out. Welcome back to Flushing. In this series, Mark Canha gets a start against the right-hander. That's the first time in this series that that's happened, but Guillorme's still out there. Vogelbach, the left-handed platoon against the right-hander. Otherwise, the same unit out there for the Mets facing the 6-foot dynamo, Spencer Strider.
Well, Strider's had a fantastic year already. Started in the pen. His last start was against the Phillies. He got 20 outs in that start. 13 were strikeouts.
This is probably the biggest start of his young career right here.
Mets faced him in Atlanta. He walked 3 over 4 2/3. They built up a big pitch count against him. He only gave up 1 run, but they got him out of the game in the 5th. Brandon Nimmo leads off 3 for 15 in the series and takes the first pitch fastball for a strike. A mere 99 from Strider after the 101s and 102s posted by DeGrom in the top of the inning. Nimmo .353 on base percentage starting plate today. And Strider quickly ahead of him 0-2. Marte and Lindor to follow. That was a breakout game for Strider that last time out against the Phillies with the 13 strikeouts. It was also the deepest into a game he's gone, 6 2/3. And a fastball away at 100, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The weather has cooled down a tad since the afternoon shower, but it is heating back up with the velocity being thrown by these 2 starting pitchers.
It was more than a shower. It poured.
Spencer Strider, 23 years old, has worked his way south. Born in Ohio, Columbus. High school in Tennessee, Knoxville. College in South Carolina, Clemson. And now pitching for Atlanta. He was drafted only 2 years ago after missing all of his senior year because of Tommy John surgery. So he barely pitched until last year when he made 2 token relief outings against the Mets right at the end of the year. And then started this year in the bullpen and now making his 13th start. Look at those legs.
Yeah, he's a monster.
I said it's like Eric Heiden.
Jeez.
The speed skater.
And he skips his first slider in, and it's 2-2.
Jesus, tree trunks.
Jonathan Broxton.
Perpendicular his feet are to each other as he's getting the sign. It's like David Letterman's stupid human tricks right there to be able to do that.
Gunboats for shoes. Jeez, for feet.
And this is away, and so Nimmo, as he so often does, fell down to the count 0-2 and has worked it full. And here's one of these long opening at bats for Nimmo. You showed the graphic yesterday. The Mets are seeing over 19 pitches per game in the first inning, the most in the major leagues. They are working opposing starters.
Well, they're giving Nimmo the right field line. Grossman way in the gap.
Late swing foul on the fastball, and Nimmo keeps it going.
Straight up on the infield pretty much, except the shortstop up the middle. That seems to be kind of where the Braves like to play Swanson against all the Met left-hand hitters, but definitely a opposite field in the outfield, gapping him in right center.
Ninth pitch of this opening at bat from Strider to Nimmo, and he fouls off another one. And with each foul ball, this crowd rising in appreciation. I think Met fans have come to embrace what this team and these hitters are all about.
And what Nimmo's all about, and how he kind of sets the table for this offense.
What does Buck say? Even if we don't score in the first inning, if we make the pitcher work hard enough, we've won the opening inning. Again, the 3-2. And he lines one out of left center for a base hit. Harris chases it down. Nimmo will stop at first. 10-pitch at bat to open the bottom of the first inning, and Nimmo's aboard.
Well, he never came inside on Brandon. And Brandon just textbook hitting the ball where it's pitched.
Tenacious, Keith.
That's the word.
Is there such a thing within and back, Keith, as adjusting to velocity?
I think you know you're prepared coming into the game, knowing what Strider's got. They've seen him once, and you're ready for a hard thrower. And once you see the first fastball, you're locked in.
Nimmo started the day with the second best on-base percentage in baseball when he starts with an 0-2 count, and he adds to that. Here's Marte, and he fouls off the first fastball. Marte 3 for 15 in this series.
Pitching him more up in the strike zone this series.
And you can see 11 pitches already, and the Brave defense is keeping an eye here. They must feel with Strider throwing in the triple digits, they're playing Marte to the opposite field, gapping him in left.
Nimmo went the other way. Marte has been extraordinary in first innings this year. Gets a breaking ball. It's a slow roller past the mound. Adrianza puts the tag on Nimmo and safe at first. Marte able to beat it out as Nimmo went down to make it more difficult for Adrianza to make the tag. So it's a 4 unassisted fielder's choice for the first down, and Marte's at first.
Well, Buck Showalter has taught his runners that's what they're supposed to do. Hit the dirt, make them reach down to tag you. He didn't tag him with the ball, but Swanson came back and tagged him later.
I thought that the second base umpire called Nimmo out on the initial play, which deceives the base runner, and that's what Buck is going to argue about. The ball is not in his glove when he tags him.
Oh my.
And the umpire called him out, which caused Nimmo to stop.
If he called him safe, he would have got up and run to the bag.
Exactly. And the Mets got the benefit of a similar call earlier this year. And this could get overturned.
It's going to be this. Did this happen in San Diego, Gare? Is that where it happened?
I'm trying to remember where it happened, but it definitely happened once before on the almost exact same play.
New York is challenging the out call at second base.
So here we go.
Wow.
They did throw the ball back to Swanson, and he did put a tag on Nimmo, but the second base umpire indicated, I already called him out.
Which stops the play.
Exactly.
So once he is tagged here, umpire calls him out. That stops the play. If he called him safe, either Adrianza would have come back and tried to tag Nimmo, or Nimmo would have got up and proceeded to second base.
Exactly.
And once again, you don't have to explain to the enemy. The hell with him.
I like that.
I mean, Matt seems like a nice guy. He just looks a little bewildered right now. So here's the tag. Nelson calls him out.
It's going to be overturned.
Nimmo stopped. Now, Olsen seemed to realize that the tag wasn't made.
So here we go again. The Braves have played a very, very sloppy second game last night. And this is going to be another mental error right here.
It was against the Marlins. Williams Astudillo had to go into play second because Birdie got hurt, and it was Astudillo who made the play.
Remember, Luke Williams started at second base in that inning, and they decided to make the change, and Williams went to third, and Astudillo to second.
Now, there's got to be some judgment on the part of the replay officials here as to whether, if they had made the initial safe call, Nimmo could have had time to get up and get to second base.
Or Adrianza, if he heard the safe call, would he reach back and tag?
Yeah, but
Nimmo? I don't know.
I don't think that's part of the consideration, right? Because he didn't.
He didn't. That's right.
So you're saying it's a judgment call?
I think there's a judgment as to whether he could have made it, because Olson realized it immediately and threw the ball right back.
But you're giving Nimmo the benefit of the doubt that if he called him safe, Nimmo is allowed to get up and proceed to the base.
Right.
If he calls him safe, isn't Adrianza allowed to change his play that he was going to play?
That's an interesting.
I don't know.
Interesting call.
Well,
it's not an easy one for the replay officials. Mark Carlson and Paul Emmel are the crew chiefs in the replay center.
It's a mess created by the second base umpire,
who is the crew chief, Jeff Nelson, who is on the microphone right now.
Had the first game yesterday, second game off.
I mean, got to pay attention. Gosh.
It's so interesting that that's the second time that's happened.
Well, last time in Miami, they gave him the base.
And it's because the Mets, when they get in that pickle, slide. They drop down to the ground, which forces the infielder to reach down and make that tag.
Yeah, but as an infielder, you've got to get the sure out.
Of course. Especially with Marte running.
Get the sure out.
Marte's running. You're not going to get two anyway.
I don't understand.
Here we go.
Especially for a guy who's a career infielder like Adrianza. I understand it with Astudillo. He was kind of a fish out of water there. But this is a career infielder. You got to know that you either have to tag him with the ball or have the ball on your gloves.
Except they're rushing to try to turn two and all of those things that happen.
You're never going to get away with that these days.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, guys. There's not a hole big enough to go crawl into. Make the call.
The longer Nimmo explains it to the Braves, the less they want to hear it.
I think this is all going to be about the timing of it and whether the replay officials believe that Nimmo could have gotten up and gotten to second base had the safe call been made.
And Olson being alert that saw it, made the quick throw, that makes it more of the judgment a little harder.
Right.
Come on.
I don't know why the other two umpires are over there.
Someone's going to be very
It's
angry.
not their choice. Unless the replay people threw it back in their laps.
Yes, I think they have.
It's your judgment as to whether he would have made it.
Yes.
That's possible.
I think that's what they've done.
Jeez.
And then it's on Jeff Nelson. Here we go.
After review, the initial out call is overturned. However, the subsequent play resulted in a tag that was not affected by the earlier action. So the runner is out. Because of the successful challenge, New York will retain its challenge.
That does not sound right because the umpire deceived the runner by making the wrong call, and that's part of the rule.
Wow.
That is not right, I don't think.
Well,
And Buck is telling Jeff Nelson exactly that. And Jeff's explaining it to him. He's saying because they threw the ball back and made the tag, even though you were right on the challenge, it's still an out. But Buck's argument here, and I think correctly so, is that if you'd made the right call, Nimmo would have gotten up and proceeded to second base.
Okay, here, just think of this scenario. Right fielder comes in, he traps the ball, but the umpire calls him out. He then throws the ball to second base where the force would have been on and the runner wouldn't got there anyway. So the umpire made the wrong call, but they can still call him out at second. I don't know.
Here we go again.
We're going to watch it again.
Now Nimmo goes down. He's called out. Does he have a tough time to get up and get to second base?
He does not.
Well, maybe not. But that's not what the call was.
Right.
They didn't say that. They said it's because they threw the ball back and tagged him that he's out.
It's not only that. If he's called safe, what does Nimmo do? He stands up. When he stands up, he runs to second. What is Olson going to throw the ball?
Right. Where's Swanson at that point?
Well, Swanson's there.
But where's he? He's going to be right in the throw line, Keith. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's up to Swanson to clear out. And
now Buck may need to get himself ejected here. You see, the out call was made before the tag was made, and that caused Nimmo to stop.
What Buck is doing right here, he's teaching Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, about this play and why he's wrong.
And I think Buck is going to tell Jeff Nelson to get back on the horn, but I guess he gives up the ghost. So it ends up being a 4-3-6 putout because the out wasn't made until Swanson actually put the tag on.
Could Buck protest the call?
I don't think that exists anymore.
There's no protest anymore.
No, there is no protest. Okay.
No. But I believe that what happened is that the replay center put it back into the lap of the umpires on the field, who then got together and decided to make the out call.
Boo.
All right, so now Lindor will step in with Marte at first and 1 out.
Fielders.
Mets retain their challenge because they actually won the challenge even though they lost. And Nimmo takes way inside, so Strider, after a long delay, misses badly with his first pitch.
So it's a fielder's choice, 4-3-6,
right?
Correct?
Yep. That's how you have to draw it up, because they're saying that it was the second tag, the one by Swanson, even though the out call was made by Nelson before Swanson put the tag on, saying that he had called the initial play out.
That's a crazy explanation.
Well, you know, what's interesting to me is that there's precedent for this play already set by the Mets in Miami. So it would be a learning experience that you think that all umpires that are in there would know about already.
Lindor pulls one foul. Well, what was interesting to me about Jeff Nelson's explanation was there was no explanation as far as what would have happened had the call been made properly in the first place.
He could have given a better explanation, that is for sure.
1-2 to Lindor with Alonso on deck. And that's slapped toward third. Bad hop. It goes by Riley and into left field. And the Mets have 2 men on. Riley trying to put it in his hip pocket and start a double play, and it skimmed right over his shoulder.
Boy, everything's going the Mets' way.
That'll be a base hit for Lindor on the bad hop.
You really know how rare it is to see a bad hop on a major league infield today. Oh, it might
right off the lip.
The lip of the grass.
Shadows affect ground balls as well.
Good point, Ronnie.
And there are your shadows creeping.
So let me finish with this. So if Olsen doesn't throw the ball, Nimmo's on second base.
Yes.
Apparently, well, except that he had no reason to go to second base because he'd been called out.
But if he never made the throw, it would they would have.
I guess that's what they're saying.
I know that he saw there was a non-tag.
So now first inning opportunity for a red-hot Pete Alonso. Yesterday he drove in the first run of each game, and each time it was with a bloop single to right. He's got 5 RBIs in this series, 93 for the year to lead the National League. And since the All-Star break, in 15 games, he has an OPS of 1235. That's how hot Pete has been since coming back from the All-Star game. And Strider tries a slider and misses. Ball and a strike.
Pete's had 11 3-hit games this season.
Now, this would be a really important inning for the Mets to score. You're trying to step on the neck of the Braves.
And just as important for the Braves to get out of Dodge.
Right.
Meanwhile, DeGrom's going to sit for a long time before he throws another pitch. It's already been 20 minutes since he last threw a pitch.
It's like having, you're right, Keith. This is a chance for their young starting pitcher to man up. And what an inspiration that would be if he somehow gets through this inning.
Everything's been about DeGrom. For this Brave team, this young pitcher out here, Strider, this is a huge game for him to pitch.
Well, this is going to be another 20-plus pitch first inning for an opposing starter against the Mets. All started with Nimmo and his 10-pitch at bat, resulting in a base hit.
baseball outside of the Braves dugout.
Can't have two balls on the field.
My favorite, Walt Weiss is on top of it. I said Weiss because I call him Weezer.
Did he bring his glove? That pancake?
The Thing. It's called The Thing.
You rang?
23-year-old Spencer Strider ahead in the count on Alonso, 1-2. And Marte dancing off second, and he throws it away, but it doesn't bounce far enough away from Marte to advance. Now, Marte had notions about trying to break for third, and Strider almost threw it into center field.
And the Mets have just, I just think, have put the Braves back on their haunches.
Adrianza did well to block that ball and keep the runners from advancing. Braves made 3 errors in the nightcap yesterday. Adrianza already got away with a big mistake in this inning. 1-2 coming. And the slider off the plate. 2-2. Daniel Vogelbach waiting on deck.
20 pitches.
Every day, Keith. Every day.
Unfortunate bad hop, but that would have been an inning-ending double play.
Marte at second, Lindor at first. Excellent speed on the bases. And Alonso reaching for that slider and fouling it off.
And your Catholic Health Brave defense. Olson and Adrianza started in the second game last night. Swanson, Riley, Contreras behind the plate. And we knows that Acuna's out. Robbie Grossman, the late start out in right field.
Which is not an easy field to play at this time of day.
You got to come inside.
And he does, up and in at 100 miles an hour, and it's 3-2.
Pete, that last swing was really diving over the plate. I mean, you don't see that, and you got to come inside. Look, you can't be hovering over that dish, my friend.
Spencer Strider has struck out 133 batters in only 87 innings. Despite the fact that he joined the rotation in late May, he's 6th in the National League in strikeouts. That's how formidable he is. 3-2 to Alonso with 1 out.
Well, 3-2, just in case.
I can't imagine that.
No, not running here.
Run yourself out of an inning.
Strider does not get many ground ball double plays. In fact, he's only gotten 2 this year. When you're striking everybody out, it's hard to get double plays.
He needs one now.
3-2 coming. And he struck him out with a slider. Good job by Strider. He really needed to make a pitch there, and he gets Alonso for the second out.
Well, interesting, that up and in fastball.
Keith, up and in, down and away. It's been working since the beginning of time.
Don't forget, Pete got dusted pretty good earlier in this series.
That was a good pitch.
So now 2 out and 2 on for Vogelbach. 3 for 8 in this series, including a home run. 1036 OPS over his first dozen games with the Mets.
Short stroke, compact stroke. Strider got to be careful not get carried away with that fastball. Got to keep it down on this guy.
And the first pitch changeup blowing away, ball 1.
I mean, this lineup with Vogelbach and now Ruff hitting behind Pete. I mean, you got Lindor, Pete, and either one of the two here. That's formidable.
25th pitch of the inning coming up for Strider. And the fastball away, 2-0. Got Jeff McNeil waiting on deck. He's had a red-hot bat.
Strider mad at himself, snatches at the ball thrown back to him by Contreras. You know, we talked coming into this game today about the emotions and to be able to handle those by DeGrom. Same with the young Strider.
Well, he certainly never pitched in a game of this magnitude. And also being matched up against DeGrom has got to have a little extra juice for a hard-throwing young pitcher.
Certainly.
I let Vogelbach swing here.
Good call, Keith. We haven't seen him enough to know if he likes 3-0, but
give him the option.
Yep.
And he takes a strike, 3-1. I mean, he's so selective.
Exactly.
That pitch was a pitch you wouldn't want to swing on anyway. You're looking for middle in, and that was down and away.
Vogelbach has seen 4.48 pitches per plate appearance, which would be #1 in the major leagues if he had enough plate appearances to qualify. Now it's 3-1. And Vogelbach fouls off the fastball, and it's 3-2.
Just don't see this many hard-throwing right-hander like this who's 6 foot tall. Just don't see it from right-handers.
We've had 2 foul backs come right back here, one right in front of us over here to our left.
Yeah.
This never happens. And this one came up above the facing above us, because that man right there is throwing bullets.
Martin Lindor gets set to run, 3-2, 2 down. And Vogelbach goes down swinging on the slider. Great recovery by Spencer Strider, striking out Alonso and Vogelbach. DeGrom back to the mound, no score.
Yes, and we're getting around to the defense. We got sidetracked there in the first inning. Alexis Mets defense, Nito behind the plate. This is their against the right-handers, their infield, and Canha getting a start. I think that he's been struggling a little bit, and I think that Buck wants to get Canha more reps and get him back in a groove.
DeGrom pitched a 1-2-3 first with a couple of strikeouts. Eddie Rosario hitting cleanup for the first time this year. Takes a fastball high for ball 1. With Acuna scratched, they moved everybody up in the lineup in the top 5 spots. So Rosario gets his first crack at the cleanup role. 3 for 14 in this series, but 0 for his last 8. DeGrom didn't get that call on the outside. It's 2-0.
Everybody kind of stopped there, and for a split second, where was that pitch?
Everyone knew it was a strike except the man that counts.
That would be C.B. Buckner calling the balls and strikes today. Full shift on against Rosario. And he swings through that fastball, and it's 2-1.
Rosario's got a big uppercut, left-handed, and he is a left-hand hitter. So he lets it rip, boy. So you can kind of get him with good gas upstairs.
Pitcher in shadow, hitter in sunlight. And that fastball caught the inside corner, maybe. 2-2. Sometimes you think they're just guessing.
The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away.
That was Doug Harvey, not C.B. Buckner. 2-2. Struck him out. 5 straight fastballs by DeGrom. His 3rd consecutive strikeout as he gets Rosario 1 out.
Sticking primarily with gas. Really, the only guy he threw the breaking ball to was O'Reilly.
Interesting, Ronnie. We saw this in Washington, too. Jake throwing 101, 102 in the first inning, and then 98, 99 in the second inning.
And that's just being overly pumped when you get on the mound for that first inning, and then you kind of settle in.
Like and a first pitch curveball for a strike to William Contreras.
So you think of a balloon, a little of the air comes out after that first inning, and then you settle in where you should be.
DeGrom threw that curveball in Washington far more than we're accustomed to seeing. And tries to dot the outside corner and missed 1-1. Now, what about the 29 minutes between the time DeGrom sat down and the time he threw his next pitch?
You know, we saw it affect Seth Lugo yesterday in the doubleheader. Certainly, it would affect many pitchers. You would think that it would not affect DeGrom because he's a veteran pitcher. But he's not really a veteran pitcher right now because he's coming from such a long rest, over a year since he's been on the mound. So those nerves have to play a part. I don't care who you are or how much time you have in.
Contreras, 2 home runs in this series, both to right field. And he swings over the slider. And it's 2-2.
That's that slider, very similar to Edwin Diaz. That late, tight breakdown.
2-2 coming. And that slider breaks down. 3-2. Robbie Grossman, the switch hitting right fielder, is on deck. And Contreras strikes out on the slider. 4 consecutive strikeouts for DeGrom. 2 men down in the second.
Haynes. Interesting how it's been Riley Contreras, a steady diet of breaking stuff.
Well, what's interesting is that he is not overthrowing his slider. He's overthrowing his fastball a little, but not the slider.
So 5 in a row retired, the last 4 via the strikeout, and now Robbie Grossman, the late addition to the lineup when Acuna was scratched. Braves implied that Acuna had some lower body soreness. We assume that means his knee. But they also implied that the wet field had something to do with it. And well, if you've been on the field at Citi Field after a rain, that's hit sharply, and Lindor with a nice one-hop grab throws him out. You'll know that it's not wet out there. The water all drains below the surface. 6 up and 6 down for DeGrom. Today's City Community Home Runs fan of the game is Ann from Longmont, Colorado. Go to sny.tv/CHR to enter. Good luck, Ann. Jacob DeGrom 6 up and 6 down to start his day with 4 strikeouts. Could not have begun better for him. Spencer Strider threw 29 pitches in the first inning, survived it. Now out for more to face Jeff McNeil leading off in the home second. Jeff's got a 9-game hitting streak working and takes a high fastball for ball 1. Going back to that controversial replay in the first inning, we just got the notes from the replay officials. Just so you know, the replay official determined that the runner was not impacted by the initial call and was tagged out subsequently. So they did consider that. Grounded behind the bag at second. Swanson throws at McNeil. So you can argue whether it was the right call, but it does appear that the replay officials did consider whether Nimmo was impacted by the initial call.
And for those umpires, I really appreciate the explanation. I really do.
Yep. And I think it's all Olson's heads up. Olson saw the non-tag and made the throw. And I think it's the correct call. Because Olson got rid of it so fast and got it to Swanson at second base. I think they would have got Nimmo out. I think it's the right call.
Yeah, because when Jeff Nelson announced it, he didn't say anything about the consideration of whether the runner was impacted, but on the written explanation we just got, they did. So that's good.
That's great.
That's good. Here's Mark Canha getting the start against the right-hander. It's been a rough go for Canha. He's hitless in his last 12 at-bats. And he takes a slider off the plate from Strider, ball 1.
I feel like there's many more sliders from Strider early in this game.
I mean, for the season, Strider had thrown his fastball 69% of the time coming into this game. And there's another one. And he gets even on Canha 1-1.
Got himself a nice little slider too, Mr. Strider.
Slider Strider.
Oh, up and in fastball. Good pitch, 99.
And as opposed to DeGrom was a beautiful, fluid, languid, long arm movement. Strider's just the opposite. Very short arm, right up to his ear, boom.
He's a shorter pitcher with shorter levers.
Yeah, shorter levers,
as they say in the trade.
Kind of drops it right to his side and then quickly up and release.
Mark Canha getting a start against the right-hander, and as we've noted over the last few days since the acquisition of Tyler Naquin, Canha's been better against righties than against lefties this year. And he works a full count against Strider. So the platoon has not worked to Canha's advantage so far, and you've seen the impact in his at-bats. Seventh batter for Strider, already his fourth full count. And Canha takes inside, ball 4. First walk given up by Strider.
How do you throw close to 100 miles an hour if you're 6 feet tall? Well, you use an extremely strong lower half. High leg kick. Drop, drive with that straight front leg. Foot just perfectly placed right at the catcher. Not much of a follow through, but it all happens early in that drop and drive for Strider.
Seaver would have been proud.
He would have. And with that leg hanging in the air. Never puts it down.
Like Rich Hill. Here's Luis Guillorme. And a fastball in for a strike. Guillorme 3 for 13 in this series.
And again, Swanson up the middle. I feel like I'm a broken record, but they just leave that left side of the infield open for Guillorme and McNeil and Nimmo.
Did you see Max Scherzer's reaction to the play Guillorme made yesterday?
I did.
I did not.
Guillorme throwing from back toward the outfield grass to get Travis d'Arnaud at the plate. Scherzer said, my first reaction was, it's 3-0. Get the out at first. What are you doing?
Yes. Guillorme said, I got this one. You relax.
And he did.
I'll handle it out here in the field. You just take care of the hitters.
I've been in those places before. It's your reaction is like this. What are you doing?
Right.
Great play. I mean, that's exactly how it
It's
goes.
like the guy who takes the long 3-pointer. No. Oh, yes.
Swish.
Yeah, right.
Money.
Exactly.
Well, it helped Scherzer put a 0 on the board for 7 innings. Rough day for Travis d'Arnaud. He had that play at the plate and then the one he got run into by Alonso, which eventually forced him out of the game. And they're saying Travis is going to miss a few days. They've called up a catcher, Chadwick Trump, to give them some protection.
All clean. Alonso made 2 hard slides yesterday that had an effect on the game.
Strike 3 called. Guillorme not happy with that call by C.B. Buckner, but that's the second out.
That's as good a placement of a slider as you can do.
Mets face the Phillies Saturday, August 13th. First 25,000 fans will receive a Ron Darling bobblehead, the second of the GKR series, presented by Verizon and SNY. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets.
Ronnie, you got such white teeth.
My friend Ernie Johnson, our friend Ernie Johnson, sent me a tweet and sent me a text and said he better get one of those bobbleheads. So I got to send it to the Ernster.
Does he need all 3?
Yes, he wants all 3.
By
Certainly.
the way, we have finally figured out how the bobbleheads connect.
Really?
The bobbleheads, all 3 of them, come with a little card in the back, and there's a little slot at the back edge of each bobblehead.
Oh.
And you put the card in the slot that connects the 3 bobbleheads together. Took us about 3 months to figure this out, but we finally got it. So we are still joined at the back end. Swinging a miss. And it's 0-2 to Nino.
Oh my God!
I'm not so sure I appreciate it.
I'll certainly pass on that one.
I'm not all in on that one.
Nito's 2 for 6 in this series, a pair of doubles. And Strider gets a call off the outside corner. Come on, CB. Back-to-back strikeouts for Strider. 4 in the first 2 innings. No score at Citi Field. 6 up and 6 down. It's been great against everybody, but particularly good against the Braves. 1.96 lifetime ERA against Atlanta. 1.30 at home.
I think he's been pretty lights out against everybody. It's just he's a hard luck pitcher.
Marcelo Zuna leads off in the 3rd inning. And takes first pitch slider down for ball 1. And Zuna has a home run against DeGrom in 41 at-bats, 10 hits. He's got by far the most experience against DeGrom in the lineup. And 2 sliders in a row, 1-1.
You're right, Ronnie. He is not overthrowing his slider. Nice, easy motion. Just paint your wagon.
When he starts finding that slot for the fastball away to right-handed hitters.
Fly ball out to right, and Marte over toward the line to get it. 1 out. He kept that fastball away.
Yeah.
That's something that Scherzer did last night. And we've seen him do it a lot of his starts, almost all of his starts. He's been so good. Is that he can, against the right-hand hitters, he can paint that outside corner knees of the fastball.
1 out. Here's Michael Harris. Harris 6 for 14 in this series, hitting a .290 in his rookie year. And gets the first pitch curveball and fouls it off. Boy, you never see anybody swing at DeGrom's first pitch curveball.
It's the curve that's seldom swung at.
And there's Scherzer against the Braves this year. Both times matched up against Max Fried, and he outmaxed him both times.
Ooh.
Rushes that fastball inside, 1-1.
That is a good pitch. Even if you miss, it's a good message pitch to the hitter. Oh, man, I love it.
Harris lifts one foul. That'll go out of play. 1-2. With the Mets sweeping the doubleheader yesterday, it's the 13th time this year that the Braves have lost 2 in a row. They still have not lost 3 in a row, and they're playing their 110th game of the season today.
They need this victory today.
One-two coming. Back foot slider. Did he go? He went around. Strike 3. Manny Gonzalez makes the call. 8 up and 8 down with 5 strikeouts for Jake.
I'd like to see that again. Not so sure, but hey, if you're a Met fan, you'll take it. What do you think, Ron?
I think he walked the dog. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? He hasn't got a yo-yo.
Here's Ari Adrianza, the second baseman. Half swing, and he went around on the slider.
Oh, I get it. Okay. That was a blues song, Walk the Dog.
The monkey's going to buy me a dog. He's got a slider working, doesn't he? 0-2. Struck him out. 3 perfect innings for Jacob deGrom with 6 strikeouts. No score in the third. They're brash, unapologetic, and bring a unique perspective to New York sports. Watch WFAN Sports Radio's Drive Time duo, Carton and Roberts, presented by Grubhub, simulcasting live every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. only on SNY. No score as we go to the bottom of the third. Second time around the batting order for Spencer Strider, who's thrown 44 pitches in the first 2 innings. And he runs one up and in to Brandon Nimmo, ball 1. Nimmo had a terrific at bat his first time up. Fell behind 0-2 after taking a couple of fastballs, and then after a 10-pitch at bat, singled to left center. And that set the tone for that first inning when Strider threw 29 pitches. And this is high with a fastball, 2-0. Starting Marte on deck, and then Francisco Lindor. First base view.
Reminds me when I was a kid when I walked through the aisles. My first game at Candlestick. Saw the ball players on the field.
$15 outs in this game, 10 via the strikeout. And now Strider behind on Nimmo, 3-1. Strider walked 1, struck out 4. deGrom has struck out 6 over the first 3 innings.
And Nimmo turned the fan on here a little bit. 3-1. Should get 99% of fastball from Strider.
He homered against Strider first time that the Mets faced him. This time he takes a strike on 3-1.
Interesting. Brandon's become very aggressive at the plate. His walks are come down, and I like the hitter he's become. More aggressive at the plate. Before, when he was younger, he was always kind of looking for a walk. Now I like where he's at.
Grounds one slowly. In comes Olson. Makes the glove flip, and Strider caught it, but he's safe. It's a heck of a play by Strider just to catch that throw, but Nimmo beats the play at first.
Heck of a play by Strider and Olson.
He broke right away. It was Nimmo just flying down that line, and a throw a little bit behind, and that he had to pull up a little bit, and that did let him. It was a tough play for the first baseman. Now there, right there, when he has to kind of collect himself, that's the difference.
Nimmo clearly beats it, and he's 2 for 2.
Yeah, the throw behind was the key.
Here's Marte, who grounded into that controversial fielder's choice in the first inning. And he takes up and in with the slider, ball 1. Marte hit a ground ball to the second baseman. Adrianza went to tag Nimmo, who went to the ground. Adrianza tagged him with the glove, not the ball, threw to first, got Marte out, or did not get Marte out, but then Olson threw back and they tagged Nimmo. And after much consultation and Sturm und Drang, they ruled that Nimmo was indeed out, much to the dismay of Buck Showalter, who felt as though the runner had been deceived by the umpire and should have been safe. A call the Mets got earlier this year.
Tough shadows right now for the hitter.
And a knee-high fastball for a strike, 1-1. Mets continue to make Strider work as they did in his first start against New York. Long at bat after long at bat. And Buckner gives the call to Strider on that pitch, and it's 1-2.
Well, on the box, it's high. It's at the letters supposedly, so they're calling more high strikes this year, and there's no question about it. And I have not got a problem with it.
Lindor waits on deck. And Marte goes down swinging on the fastball. And that's 5 strikeouts for Strider, the first out in the home third.
Strider showing a lot of poise, Ron.
Well, once he got that call, then he could go another 2-3 inches outside. That's smart pitching by Strider and nice calling of the pitch by Contreras.
Got a young pitcher and a young catcher working together. And so far, so good. There's Lindor, who had a bad hop base hit that sailed by Riley's glove in the first inning.
Young battery mates sometimes in big games can work in your favor. They're unfettered with all the experience. They're not going to be glued to exactly what the game plan is going to be. They're going to be more malleable, I think, because they're both learning at the same time.
Shadow's not easy right now. Pitcher and sun, hitter and shade.
That was not a good frame by Contreras there. May have cost Strider a strike.
Lindor with the base hit his first time up. Now has reached base safely in 15 straight games. He fouls off that fastball, and it's 1-2. And over a slightly longer stretch, last 22 games, look at that. Yes, well over 1,000.
Look at the batting average, the on-base percentage, slug.
Finally pushed his OPS for the season above 800, which is an important milestone.
He's having himself a solid year, a good second half too, and this is what you want. He had a couple ups and downs, a couple hiccups in the first half, but solid since the All-Star break. Actually, July, excuse me.
Yeah, I think the biggest setback that he had this year was when he slammed his finger in the door in Los Angeles and fractured his finger, and he played right through it. But it clearly affected him for the next few weeks.
You know, we've said it 1,000 times too. I mean, I'm always cognizant of defense. His defense has been outstanding.
It goes again to his toughness of Lindor to stay in there and continue to play.
1-2 coming. And he lays off the slider. Good take. 2-2. Phillies blew out the Nats today 13-1.
Poor Nats.
Phillies have won 5 in a row, and since June 1st, they're 39-19. Loop the other way behind third base, and it lands fair. A base hit. Nimmo running all the way, goes first to third. Little parachute by Lindor for a base hit. He's 2 for 2, and the Mets have runners at the corners.
He's hot. That's what that means. Got the magic wand up there.
Yeah, how about those 2 hits, right?
Yep.
Bad hop and now a bloop.
And Nimmo, it's an easy read for him. Never a hesitation.
Yeah.
Who's going to catch that ball?
It's either going to be hit or foul.
And Nimmo's just really an excellent base runner.
So the Mets poised to try and get the first run of the day home with Alonso at the plate. Pete had an opportunity in the first inning with 2 men on and 1 out and struck out. Well, the first time DeGrom started this year, it was like old days for Jake. Mets scored only 1 run that day.
He struck out Pete before, remember, an up and in fastball, and then got him with a hard slider away. We'll see how he attacks him here.
Nimmo at third, Lindor at first. And
Fastball.
Pete goes after an up and in fastball, 0-1.
Wise choice.
They're your National League RBI leaders.
It's incredible where Pete's at. I mean, he's ready to crack the triple digits.
Mets club record is 124.
Oh, boy.
Still have a third of a season to go.
It's in danger. Bring it on. And one thing about Pete, the up and in fastball, Pete's never going to be phased by being pitched in. He's very disciplined, keeps that shoulder tucked. The ball that he pulls is when they throw that hanging breaking ball, but he drives that ball into the opposite gap.
And he takes that fastball, and this time Strider didn't get the call on the outside corner.
Oh, he's going to smile. He's going, geez.
So CB's giving him the one up in the zone. He's not giving the one on the corner down in the zone.
Oh, man.
Does he have the coin? Didn't see him flipping it.
Coming back in.
Up and in at 100, 2-1. 6 of the first 12 batters for the Mets have seen at least 6 pitches. They have been extremely disciplined against Strider. And running up his pitch count quickly. 63 with 1 out in the third.
Remember how good Pete has been against the breaking ball in the strike zone.
Pete taking his time getting in the box. And
Alonso just got a piece of that slider and kicks himself 2-2.
I have a hunch, and I don't know. I can't go before you in court and swear on a Bible and say, but I think Pete was looking for a slider, and that's why he fished for it.
Because he got it.
Yeah, he got it.
Confirmed his confirmation.
Yep, that's my feeling, and I could be wrong. And then that's always, you have a chance, you get too anxious and you go after the one that breaks out of the strike zone.
Well, Strider got him out on a slider out of the strike zone last time. 2-2. Fastball foul back.
He's doing a nice job, Strider, against Pete, of throwing enough fastballs up, enough fastballs in to keep him off that slider.
This young man's impressing me.
Just his 13th major league start. And pitching an enormous game for his team. 2-2.
And we fought off a tough pitch. That was a tough pitch, and he stays in the at-bat.
And yet another long at-bat. That's 7 out of 13 Met hitters who've seen at least 6 pitches. DeGrom spent a whole lot more time in the dugout than he has on the mound.
Kind of shape you have to be in that hot sun, humid sun, not a bead of sweat coming off his face.
Pitch to Clemson. They have hot games there. Vogel back on deck. 2-2 to Alonso. Pete gets a breaking ball and fouls it off.
I wonder if that was a slider or a changeup. I thought Contreras slider. Okay.
Definitely a wrinkle.
I thought Contreras called changeup there for a second.
We have got this Mets crowd to the point where they are cheering foul balls.
They're aware.
They know what's going on.
They do. They like this team. Welcome back to 1980s baseball.
Well, yeah, without the ugly uniform.
Okay, I'll give you that.
8th pitch of the at-bat to Alonso. And Pete hooks one over the back. Oh, the cushion! That'll bring in the game's first run. Nimmo scores. Lindor to third. He's being waved home. The throw by Rosario to the plate. Not in time. A 2-run pincushion double for Pete Alonso. And the Mets have a 2-0 lead.
Wow. Wow. They're living right. 94 and 95 RBI.
Third game in a row that Alonso has driven in the Mets' first run. And he's given DeGrom a couple to work with.
Oh my gosh. And the third baseman has it covered. Riley has this on the backhand. Tags third. I don't know if he gets 2. But this is just, I mean, you got a bad hop, now this. The Braves have just got to feel like they've taken a couple left hooks.
I think with first and third there, play for Riley probably have been at first base with Alonso.
Yeah, I think the run's going to score anyway. But not the second.
Oh, that's right. It's first and third. You're right.
And
but
Nora digging as that ball dribbled into left field. And with Rosario playing very deep, it took him forever to get there. And a wise send by Joey Cora because Rosario doesn't have the world's best arm. And Lindor scored easily.
And here you are. Nimmo fired up. And Lindor. Tough pitch. Put the ball in play. Something can happen.
Got 2 runs home. Now Vogelback. Struck out his first time. And takes a slider down for ball 1.
Feel like you want to buy a lotto ticket on the way home. I mean, boy.
They got a bad hop hit from Lindor in the first, a bloop hit from Lindor in this inning, and that one off the third base bag for Alonso to drive in a pair.
Wow.
21 doubles, 50 extra base hits, 95 runs batted in. 7 of them in this series. That's taking charge. 2-1 now to Vogelback, and it's worth noting that the Braves sent one of their starters, Ian Anderson, down today and brought up Huascar Ynoa, who you might remember got off to a great start as a starter for the Braves last year, then punched a dugout bench, missed 3 months. Anyway, Ynoa is back and available in long relief today. And that bounces in, and Contreras did well to snag it.
Boy, I'll say.
Que pasó?
That's a backhand.
And like Nito, he snagged it out of the dirt and then came up looking to throw.
He didn't even look at it. Head went left, glove went right.
It's an educated guess.
Well, Strider threw 29 pitches in the first inning. This will be his 29th pitch in this inning. And Vogelbach takes a walk.
Someone needs to go out and talk with Strider. He needs to calm down.
He's done very little wrong in this inning. A little infield dribbler by Nimmo that went for a hit. When Olson threw it a little behind Strider at first. The bloop by Lindor. The hit off the bag by Alonso.
But I think if you're a manager and a pitching coach with a young starter like this, this is every inning. It's 25 to 30 pitches. It's all under duress. At some point, they're going to pull the parachute unless he can start getting some quick outs.
Well, he's got a big hitter to face now in McNeil with 2 runs already home in the inning and about to throw his 30th pitch of the inning with only 1 out. And Jeff goes after a first pitch fastball down the middle, 0-1.
And I mean that only for Strider's protection. You know, I mean you're gonna be worried about his innings anyways.
Once the Mets just keep on making the pitchers just work under duress.
Bullpen is working now for the Braves. McNeil clocks one out to right center field. Back goes Harris, tagging at second Alonso, and Harris makes the catch, and Alonso will not move against Harris's arm. Ball didn't go anywhere.
No.
That's the second out.
I don't know if he got jammed or he got it towards the end.
It's funny because Harris's first move was to go back toward the gap like he thought it was hit better.
It was a full swing, but it was off the end.
So now 2 out and 2 on for Canha.
I can't tell from there. I think you're right, though, towards the end.
Well, another long stretch in the dugout for DeGrom. We had a 28-minute break before he pitched the second. He's already been sitting for 21 minutes now since his last pitch. Canha drew a walk his first time up. 2 out and 2 on.
You know, it's interesting to watch because, you know, the other Mets pitchers have so much that they talk about and think about. A grouped think tank, as you see Dylan Lee up in the bullpen. Well, DeGrom came out the simple man. He's more like solitary man when he pitches here.
Like that.
Neil Diamond.
I'll be what I am. Interesting. The Strider's fastball, which was 98 to 100, is now backed up to 96 on those first 2 pitches to Canha. 33 pitches already in this inning. Well, the Mets have done this to great pitchers and to lesser pitchers.
Strider getting very frustrated by Canha's deliberateness.
Alonso at second, Vogelbach at first. And he tried a slider and missed somehow. 2-1.
I don't know what to say.
We'll have to check the umpire scorecard at the end of the game. And Canha smacks one toward left center field. That's an extra base hit up the gap. Alonso scores. Vogelbach lumbering to third. He's going to be waved around by Joey Cora. And there'll be no throw. Vogelbach scores all the way from first base. A 2-run double for Mark Canha, and it's 4-0 New York. Canha with a shot. 270 feet of magic from Daniel Vogelbach, and the Mets have a 4-run lead.
Keith, there was an error on the center fielder Hall there. That allowed Vogelbach to score.
Yes.
Beautiful swing on the high fastball.
Level swing. McKenna rewarding Buck with the start. There's your fumble right there, and that allows Vogelbach to score. Watch him stutter step here. That is not a good turn. Now it's okay. Chug.
No errors scored on the play. It's a 2-run double, and it's Chase Spencer Strider from the game. Mets get into the Braves bullpen. It's 4-0. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Nissan. Shop NissanUSA.com. Ballpark than watching Daniel Vogelbach go first to home on a double. That was outstanding.
You know, he takes such little strides for such a big man. It's fun to watch.
Dylan Lee pitched Friday night, was greeted rudely. Darren Ruff and Eduardo Escobar got pinch hits against him. This time he'll face the left-hand hitter Guillorme, who takes a slider off the plate for ball one. Well, the Mets with 4 runs home in the third, knocking out Spencer Strider, the shortest start of Strider's big league career. He goes 2 2/3, 79 pitches, 6 hits, 4 runs so far, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And Guillorme flies one out to center. And Harris puts it away to end the inning. But 2-run doubles by Alonso and Canha make it 4-0 New York. Well, Jacob deGrom, 29 minutes after he threw his last pitch, back to the mound. 3 perfect innings under his belt. Dansby Swanson leads off in the 4th. Jake now with a 4-0 lead and fires a fastball in for a strike. This is deGrom's 200th career start. It's the 15th time in those 200 starts he's been perfect through 3 innings. He has struck out 6 today. If he strikes out 1 more, he will break Yu Darvish's record for the most strikeouts in Major League history for a pitcher in his first 200 starts. Right now tied with Darvish at 1,517. Swanson takes a slider down, and it's 2-1. deGrom threw 32 pitches through the first 3 innings. That's the 3rd fewest by a Met this year. Chris Bassett had a 28 pitch, and Taijuan Walker a 29 pitch first 3 innings.
And that's with 6 strikeouts.
Yeah, it's hard to do. It's a 1-3 ball count. Last night Scherzer threw 108 in his 7 innings. So what do we got? 10, 15. Last 3 games, 15 in the 3rd innings by Mets starting pitchers. No runs. After the rough start for Taijuan Walker on Friday night. Two-two to Swanson. Struck him out. And there's the record. 1,518 strikeouts for Jacob deGrom, the most ever for a pitcher in his first 200 Major League starts.
Wow. Congratulations. And a wicked slider. His signature pitch. One of them.
He's faced 10 batters, retired them all, struck out 7. Now Olson, who was the first of those strikeouts, and he has to jump back from a fastball in tight. Well, the Braves have been knocked back on their heels repeatedly in this series. It's the 4th time in 5 games that the Mets have gotten off to a very fast start. And while the Braves have responded each time, in none of those games have they been able to get over the top. Good back foot slider by deGrom, 1-2.
I just think the Braves got to feel like they've just been beaten and beaten down.
Snake bit, too.
It's got to be very demoralizing. There's a lot of game left. The Mets need to put the hammer down.
1-2 to Olson. Lofted into left field. Coming on is Canna, and he makes the running grab. 2 out. Well, not only is there a lot of game, but there are a lot of games.
Yes.
Nearly a third of the season after today. Mets and Braves will meet 4 more times week after next in Atlanta, and then 3 times at the end of the season.
I just feel that this entire series, it was a very, very arduous day yesterday for both teams. Very tough. The doubleheader was hot. But the Mets, late in that second game, had more life in their step than the Braves. The Braves kind of were on their heels, and the Mets seemed to have the energy.
I just felt as though yesterday in that second game, when the team needed that energy, having Max Scherzer on the mound made all the difference in the world.
It's like if he has it, shame on us if we don't. We don't match it.
Now it's DeGrom. 0-2 to Austin Riley. Just missed. 1-2.
Well, Buck said one of his early managers in the minor leagues said it well. He said, can you bring the intensity every day? That's what Major League Baseball is all about.
1-2 to Riley. Fastball off the corner at 100. 2-2. Well, the most encouraging thing this week has been to see Jacob deGrom look like Jacob deGrom. And he has been every bit the Cy Young Award winner. 2-2. Struck him out. 8 strikeouts in 4 perfect innings for Jacob deGrom. He is still the master. Watch live Mets games, SNY programming, and access original content anytime, anywhere, on any device with the SNY app presented by CarShield. Scan the code and download now. Beach ball loose in the outfield. Eddie Rosario kicking it to an attendant. What are we at Dodger Stadium? You never get beach balls at Citi Field.
Well, it's considerably hot, Gary.
Well, it's beach weather. I would concede that.
It was smoking today out east. My gosh.
Dylan Lee came into the final out of the third. He stays on to start the fourth. Mets with a 4-0 lead. Tomas Nido struck out his first at bat against Spencer Strider. Strider lasted just 2 2/3. The Mets worked him over with long at bat after long at bat. They got a couple of lucky breaks on bleeders and bloops and a hit off the bag, but ultimately wore him down, and Mark Canha's 2-run double knocked him out. 4 runs and 6 hits over 2 2/3. And Nido lines one into center field for a base hit. So Tomas is aboard to lead off the home fourth.
And let's not forget last night's ball game, the second game of the doubleheader. Nido started off that third inning with a bullet double to left center field. That was a 3-run, started that 3-run third, and then executed a beautiful squeeze bunt in the 8th inning.
I would like to give credit where credit is due, because it did not appear in our broadcast last night because it happened too quickly. But right before Nido laid down the suicide squeeze, Ronnie made the squeeze bunt sign. So I just want to give credit.
And I will confess on my end, I was a long day. I was brain dead.
Nimmo lines one down the line for a base hit. His third hit of the game. He's going to dig for 2 and make it easily. Stopping at third is Nido, and the Mets are in business again. Nido is 3 for 3. Nimmo is 3 for 3, and the Mets have second and third and nobody out.
Nice, nice, nice. How about Brandon against left-handers? hanging little cutter, inner half, turns on it. And the Mets are ready to turn this into, send in the cavalry, cut up the retreating troops.
Here's Marte. Infield comes most of the way in. And he takes up an away ball. And we saw this alignment last night as well, where Swanson plays about halfway with the slower runner Nido at third. And Marte flies one out to center. Harris measures it. Nido tagging. He does not try it. Mets have seen plenty of Harris's arm. Throw back to second, and Nimmo gets back safely. Nice cut and throw by Olson, and they nearly got Nimmo. But the Mets have clearly gotten the message about Michael Harris's arm.
Well, they have not run on him since he threw Guillorme out. Simple as that. And they might not run on him the rest of the year. Maybe in the next 5 years.
Well, it's got to be a little deeper than that, or a little faster runner at third.
Or hit it to another outfielder.
Yeah. So 1 out. Now Lindor, who's already 2 for 2 in this game. A bad hop single and a bloop single. Scored a run in the third. He's now scored a run in 10 straight games, which is 3 shy of the Mets club record, held by David Wright, who scored a run in 13 straight games in 2008. Lindor now 8 for 16 in this series. And Lee starts him off with a slider down. 0-1.
Shadows now completely across the field, so the ball comes out and stays in the same shade. Ooh, not so difficult now. It's always more difficult when it comes from shadows into sun or vice versa.
The pitcher's got a little bit of sun on him, but substantially gone. It's more like a halo effect now. Bill Lee trying to deal with a mess. And he sails that one, and Contreras does well to keep him from going to the backstop.
Well, Lee's been in early in 2 of these games. You know, before this series started, Brian Snitker had to account for 45 innings, right? The starters have given him 24 in 5 games. Not acceptable by Braves pitching standards.
Mets get a base hit here. The ball would be a dagger. Big dagger.
2-1 to Lindor with Alonso on deck. And Francisco chasing a high fastball, and it's 2-2. Dylan Lee, who served as an opener for the Braves in the World Series last year against Houston. He just misses to Lindor.
Well, he didn't miss. Just someone missed.
Well, I'll say one thing for CB. We've been kind of harsh on him. He doesn't call low strike. That is for sure. And he calls a high strike.
Supposed to call the complete strike.
I understand, but I feel like we've been roughing him up a little bit.
Okay.
3-2. And Lindor reaches out and fouls off a fastball. Well, in a world where umpires are judged on every pitch they call, it's always interesting to look at their ratings after the game.
I didn't know you could.
Oh, yeah.
What website?
I'll send it to you.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know. I'd like to see that, Gary.
98% is like the best. Some of the worst are under 90. 3-2. Popped up foul. Contreras gives a look, but that'll be back in the crowd. Lindor with 2 hits today now has 113 hits for the year. He and Alonso are both in the top 10 in the league in base hits. Wouldn't have figured Alonso, right? Because of all the walks that he draws, how the paucity of strikes that he sees.
Buck Showalter was talking about Pete today. He said, you know, we have to start giving credit where credit is due, that he's a complete hitter.
Well, I remember Keith saying that as early as Pete's rookie year, that he was more than just a slugger. He was a guy who could hit 280. And guess what? He's hitting over 280.
I should take him to dinner. It made me look good.
3-2 from Lee. And Lindor flies it to center. Another chance for Harris. And again, not very deep. And Nito's not going to try this either. And there are 2 out. So second and third and nobody out. 2 fly balls to Harris with that howitzer of an arm in center field. And it's left to Alonso. And let's see if they give him 4. With a left-hander on the mound, you have to figure.
And they've got Ruff in the on-deck circle, and they are going to get 4.
So Pete will draw his 11th intentional walk this year. That's the most in the league. And Darren Ruff will bat for Vogelbach with a chance to blow the doors off this game.
Well, I think that Buck knows that a base hit here really is going to break this game wide open.
No, Vogelbach's already had his moment in this game.
He sure has.
By the way, Mark Simon from Sports Info Solutions passes along that it's the 3rd time this year, not the 1st, but the 3rd time this year that Vogelbach has scored from first base on a double.
Oh, nice.
Fourth time in his career. So here's Ruff, who came off the bench for his Mets debut earlier in this series Friday night, and greeted Dylan Lee with a double off the wall in right field that drove in 2 runs. Now he faces Lee again with the bases loaded. And Ruff takes a fastball for a strike, 0-1.
I like Ruff. Ruff goes the other way. He keeps that shoulder in, and really you got to pitch him in like any good hitter. But he's already showed, you see the defense, they got him to pull, but he's already shown us he can go and drive the ball the opposite field.
And now down to the count 0-2.
So all the pickups the Mets made at the deadline have been very productive. That man right there, Naquin and Ruff.
Now Lee with a path out of this jam. He bounces that breaking ball, and Contreras keeps it at his feet, and it's 1-2.
Well, I sure like this young catcher. He said the other night he's going to be a star in this league. It's just his ability. He's great athleticism to go along with his home run power.
Darren Ruff has 1 grand slam in his career, and it came 3 weeks ago against the Dodgers. And he goes down swinging to end the inning. So a good recovery by Dylan Lee, and the Mets leave him loaded. Coverage camp.
Well, early on it was plus 100, so he just went right after him. As he's gotten into this game, he's used that slider more. It's probably been his best pitch, just a relaxed, perfect slider on the outside corner, down and into lefties. 8 punch outs, 2 in each inning pitched.
How about this? The Braves have swung at 11 of DeGrom's sliders, and they have swung and missed at each of the 11.
Oh boy.
Ouch.
That's just unfathomable.
Hunt.
Eddie Rosario leads off in the 5th. Rosario struck out his first time up. And takes the first pitch slider low and in for ball 1. It's the 7th time in his 200 career starts that DeGrom has been perfect through 4. 46 pitches in the first 4 innings. And Rosario pops one up, and Guillorme waits for it to come down.
It's such a good pitch. That fastball riding up out of the strike zone, above the letters to the neck high. The hitter's doing you a favor. If he swings at it, it's all he can do. It's hard to get on top of that ball.
And so many Mets pitchers have come through the system with DeGrom. They've tried to teach him to throw up like he does. He has that life upstairs that you don't teach. It's innate.
And yet, when he first got to the major leagues, he was a knees and black guy.
He could do whatever he wanted to do.
The hitters changed, and so did he.
That's 12, by the way.
12 and 12.
12 sliders swung at, 12 sliders missed. Contreras struck out his first time up. By the way, keep in mind as we go here, the game plan for DeGrom after he threw 5 innings and 59 pitches in his first start is for 6 innings, 75 pitches today. 0-2 coming. While it might be tempting to think about loftier goals, that's still going to be the limit.
The up and downs might get him today because of the long intervals between being on the mound because of the Mets' prolific offense.
One and two to Contreras. Struck him out.
14.
Another swing and miss at a slider. That's 9 strikeouts for DeGrom, who has retired the first 14 Atlanta batters.
Jeez.
14 sliders swung at, 14 missed. Retired the first 14 batters, 9 strikeouts.
He's perfect.
We're in the 5th.
I mean, you hoped that Jake would come back and be some large percentage of himself. So far, through a start and a half, he's been 100% of himself. Here's Robbie Grossman, the late addition to the lineup when Acuna was scratched. He grounded out his first time up.
He's the only one to hit the ball hard.
It was a sharp ground ball. Lindor made a nice play going to his left. Another swing and miss at a slider. That's 15.
I don't think we've ever kept this count in 17 years.
Has anybody ever? Has anything like that ever happened? Even Randy Johnson, they put a slider in play every now and again. 0-2 to Grossman. And he takes it low, 1-2. Has he even thrown his changeup today?
No, he has not. One curveball, I believe.
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to.
His fastball command is the only thing that is not perfect. Everything else is.
We've got power stuff today.
1-2 to Grossman. Struck him out. 10 strikeouts in 5 perfect innings. 54th time in his career he's fanned 10 or more. The perfect thus far, Jacob DeGrom. SNY Play Ball presented by Toyota is back, looking to help local football leagues in need continue play in 2022, providing grants, clinics, and equipment donations. The deadline for applications is Thursday. If you know a local football league in need, apply today at sny.tv/playball. Well, the slider scoreboard, which is probably as interesting as anything else on Jacob DeGrom's ledger. 16 sliders swung at, 16 sliders swung and missed. Colin McHugh on to pitch for the second time in the series. Wanted a call from C.B. Buckner. Didn't get it. Ball 1. McHugh worked a third inning on Friday night. Gave up a base hit to Lindor and a walk to Alonso. Now facing McNeil leading off in the home 5th. Well, if the plan stays intact for Jacob DeGrom, that's hooked into right field, a base hit from McNeil. Jeff takes a turn. He's going to challenge Grossman. The throw to second base, not in time. Well, Good awareness by McNeil, knowing it's not Acuna in right field. It's Grossman, who doesn't have the same kind of arm. And McNeil legs it into 2 bases.
Fourth double of the game for the Mets, and you Met fans are watching. This, we said from the get-go, we started in April. This team had all the infield hits. Why? They bust hard to first base. They bust out of the box. This is a hustling bunch.
25th double of the year for McNeil, who now has a 10-game hitting streak.
God.
And the Mets have a leadoff base hit for the 2nd straight inning, 3rd straight inning, and 4 times in 5 innings. Here's Canha, who had the 2-run double for the Mets, this time trying to lay down a bunt with the 3rd baseman Riley playing back.
I want him swinging the bat.
Except if you look around the Braves defense, they're all looking at each other like, what is going on here?
Mets continue to put pressure on teams in every conceivable way. Anyway, I was going to say about DeGrom, if the plan holds, and I'm sure it will, he's only going to pitch 1 more inning. Canha flies one out to right. McNeil will go back and tag. Grossman makes the catch, and McNeil will try to advance, and the throw is cut off.
Well done.
McNeil twice taking advantage of Grossman, and now he's on 3rd with 1 out.
Well done. Acuna, forget it.
Well, the Mets have studied their scouting reports. They have not run on Harris today, but they will run on Grossman.
Just attention to detail. It's
It is
fun to watch.
Very good, Ron.
Yeah.
You're right. Absolutely right. They got to bring the in. There's Acuna, and you got to bring the infield in.
Acuna late scratch because of what they call lower body soreness.
Colin McHugh just told all of his infielders, watch for the bunt.
Yeah, the squeeze.
That squeezed last night with Nito.
It's a possibility, and you see that Riley is hugging that bag a little bit, not allowing McNeil to get a big lead.
Well, if you run the suicide squeeze like the Mets did last night, as long as you get the bunt down, it really doesn't matter what you do.
McHugh's going from the windup.
Guillorme takes a letter high strike.
I am surprised. I mean, there's the possibility of a squeeze. You allow that runner down the 3rd base line to get a good jump. I'm sure they're not going to squeeze, or Guillorme can swing the bat, but boy, you got to go from the stretch here.
And the back foot slider, and a great job by Contreras. They say no swing, but Contreras saved a run there.
But what's unusual about this, first, the beautiful play by Contreras had to reach completely across his body because he was sitting on that outside corner, is that McHugh, a reliever now, would prefer to throw from the windup with a runner on 3rd, except he was a starter early in his career.
Cutter fouled off the leg of Guillorme, 2-2.
Now you're starting to get into that point where the Mets let the Braves off the hook last inning. You don't want to do it this inning.
Well, they've left 6 men on base, but they've scored 4 runs.
And that one kicks up in the air, and that'll bring McNeil home. 5-0 New York. Well, Contreras has been wonderful in this series blocking pitches, but he couldn't quite block that one. Well, and McNeil with a terrific trip around the bases.
Gary, he's young, and sometimes he gets into the habit of trying to backhand pitches instead of block them, and that's the case right there. You can't do that.
Can't not do that. It's a wild pitch.
Hit off the plate, and I think that created a bigger bounce than he was expecting. So it's now a 5-run Met lead. And Guillorme goes down swinging for the 2nd out. That's a really good trip around the bases for McNeil.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to want to score. You got to want to be advanced. And the Mets have been on point.
Took the extra base on the hit, advanced on a not all that deep fly ball, and scores on the short wild pitch.
Canha gets the runner over as well as his 2-run double.
So now Nido, who got a base hit leading off in the 4th, goes after a slider, 0-1.
Here you got to drop to your knees and you got to take it off the chest protector, and that's just a young mistake.
Crowd right now biding its time, as he is, waiting for Jake to go back to the mound. The second time in his career he's thrown 5 perfect innings. He did it in 2015 in San Diego. It's long enough ago that it was broken up by a Clint Barmas base hit.
Shortstop.
Yeah, he's been retired for a long time. Well, again, he's only going to throw 1 more inning if the plan holds. And then it'll be up to other folks from there. Nido flies one to shallow center. Harris starts back, now comes in, and he got beat. Harris misread it, started back, froze, and by the time he recovered, it was in front of him for Nido's second hit of the day.
Yeah, and Nido takes the big screen, top of your screen. Watch him. He breaks back 2-3 steps too late, and Nido, takes that huge swing.
Remember, that's the second time in this game McNeil hit a ball to center field that he broke back on as well.
So 2 out. Now Nimmo, who in the 5th inning has a chance for a 4th hit. He had a single to left center after a 10-pitch at bat in the 1st, an infield single in the 3rd, and then double down the right field line in the 4th. And McHugh gets the cutter in for a strike, 0-1. Inside 1-1. So not only has DeGrom thrown 5 perfect innings, he's already struck out 10, and he's done it throwing only 56 pitches. It's only the second time this year that a pitcher struck out as many as 10 batters and as few as 56 pitches. The only other guy to do it, Shohei Ohtani, back in April. Slider fouled off by Nimmo, 1-2. And it's his second start in 13 months.
I guess only the royalty goes there.
He is that. I mean, we said it before he took the mound in Washington. When he left, he was the best pitcher in baseball. Would he still be? Apparently so.
It's like when Michael Jordan went away to play baseball. He came back, he's like, well, I still was the best basketball player, even though I was playing baseball.
I mean, you have to reclaim the crown, but it hasn't taken long. 1-2 coming to Nimmo, and the curveball hit to center field. Harris plays this one well, and he makes the catch to end the inning. But the Mets get a run on a wild pitch, and now DeGrom back to the mound. Road Ahead presented by your local Tri-State GMC dealers. The Reds are in for 3 starting tomorrow night, and the Phillies in next weekend before the Mets go back to Atlanta a week from Monday. 4 more games with the Braves. Well, Jacob deGrom's faced 15, retired them all with 10 strikeouts. Marcell Ozuna leads off the 6th. And up and in for ball 1. Ozuna, Harris, and Adrianza the lower 3rd in the order in what figures to be deGrom's final inning of the day. So just his second start in 13 months.
So the only question is, will he be perfect?
The second time in his career he's been perfect through 5. Ozuna fouls off a fastball, and it's 1-2.
But you got 15 sliders. What's will be left of that?
16.
16.
But lots of fastballs here to Ozuna this at bat.
Going to get one here.
1-2 coming.
No.
Another fastball, and he fouled it off. DeGrom has thrown 27 sliders, 16 swung at, 16 missed. I've never seen anything like that, Ronnie.
Like I said, 17 years, we have never kept that stat. Here's another one.
1-2 coming. Struck him out. 11 strikeouts for Jacob DeGrom. 17 sliders swung at, 17 sliders missed.
Set him up with all that gas, made him so 99 miles an hour aware.
This is an exercise in futility.
I mean, not even a foul ball. Last Met to go 5 1/3 perfect. Noah Syndergaard, 2019, half swing, and Harris did not go around.
Keith and Ryan Sandberg yelled at me when I said a pitch could be unhittable. So ever since then, I've got PTSD when it comes to that. Don't want to say it.
You might be able to drop the U word today. There's another one. 18 for 18. I mean, it's just a perfect pitch. You want to call it unhittable? Fine, but they haven't hit one yet. All 9 Braves in the lineup have struck out at least once. Harris fouls back a fastball, and it's 1-2.
Well, you know one thing, when he's out of this game, Scherzer's going to have his ear.
One and 2 to Harris. And bounces one foul. Well, there is the first contact made against DeGrom's slider today. After he had gotten swings and misses on every single one, they finally foul one off.
Oh, another slider.
1-2. Grounded down to first, a foul ball. So Harris going places that no Brave has gone before. Fouled off 2 in a row.
I bet you he's a Star Trek watcher.
Maybe he needs to throw his first changeup of the day.
And Nito put it down.
Fastball up.
Fastball up is right. I don't think he's going to mess around.
If he can cover down, he can't cover up as well.
Another one.
Back to the slider. 1-2. And he lays off it. So Harris giving a good accounting of himself here. It's the best any Braves done today. Got through 6 pitches in the at bat. Fouled off a couple of sliders. Took one out of the strike zone. Now what?
Nito wants him to throw the changeup.
2-2 fastball. Swung and missed. Strike 3. An even dozen for DeGrom. 17 up, 17 down.
Unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. It's like an Olympian god pitching today.
And a well-rested one.
Only time you ever see this happen is in Williamsport when the 12-year-old has a beard. One of those kids.
Now Adrianza.
It's interesting. He really came into this inning saying he wanted to throw his fastball more.
Missed with a slider, and it's 2-0. Do you understand the reluctance to throw the changeup, which Nito has called for a few times?
There's no need. There's just no need.
Doesn't want to get beat on his third pitch?
No, just no need. It's just he's got these locked in. So
Adrianza pops one up in foul ground, and that will sail out of play.
That being said, he'll probably get the 2-2, and he'll leave this game with a 2-2 strikeout on a changeup. No and Jake.
I don't think he can't get beat because it's a 5-run lead, but he wants to be perfect.
Well, they said 6 innings, 75 pitches today. He's trying to finish off the 6th inning and do it perfectly. He's at 71 pitches for the day. Two and one to Adrianza. And that is up and in. And for only the second time today, DeGrom has gone to a 3-ball count. He went 3-2 on Contreras before striking him out in the second. He's retired the first 17, 12 via the strikeout. 3-1 coming. And he walked him. And the Braves have their first base runner of the day. And the Mets are going to get their bullpen working now. Joely Rodriguez will start to warm up. Big hand for DeGrom after retiring the first 17. He issues a 2-out walk to Adrianza. And now he'll pitch from the stretch for the first time. There's Joely getting ready. So this inning is going to be it for Jake, and he's going to try and leave it without allowing a hit. He's got to get through Swanson. Dansby has flied out and struck out 0 for 2. He misses outside with the fastball, 1-0.
I think it's his last hitter.
Yeah, you got Olson on deck with the left-hander up in the bullpen. And this will be his 75th pitch. There's a strike. Did you hear the dead quiet before that last pitch? I mean, people are holding their breath. Everybody's standing.
You're right here. A pin drop.
Swanson flies one out to right center field. It's deep. Back goes Nimmo near the wall, and it's out of here. Dansby Swanson breaks up the no-hit bid with a 2-run homer, and all of a sudden the Braves are back in the game. Swanson's 16th home run of the year. He snaps an 0 for 14 stretch. It's now 5-2 New York, and that's going to be all for Jacob DeGrom. After 5 2/3 perfect innings, he gives up a walk and a home run. And now his first start back at Citi Field in 13 months will come to an end. Returned to Citi Field, retired the first 17 batters, struck out 12, but after a walk and a home run, not happy at all with the way his day finished.
Fastball up, absolute bomb, Keith.
The opposite field and cleared it plenty. Gee.
Oh, it had been a very frustrating series for Dansby Swanson. He had been 2 for 20 in the series to that point before taking DeGrom deep. So 76 pitches for Jake, 12 strikeouts, 2 runs on 1 hit, 1 walk, and now Joely Rodriguez in to face Matt Olson with 2 out and nobody on, and gets a swing and miss at a fastball, 0-1.
There'll be no dissecting the start on the bench right now. Rodriguez pitched 2 days ago. Did not give up a run in an inning.
Struck out Olson in that outing. And he gets one on the ground to first. Pete will take it himself. Side retired. So Rodriguez finishes off the 6th. DeGrom's work is done. Mets lead 5-2. Colin McHugh out for his 2nd inning of relief. 5-2 New York as the Mets come up in the bottom of the 6th. Marte, Lindor, and Alonso try and get the Mets restarted. Marte's gone 0 for 3 today. And McHugh gets the cutter in for a strike, and it's 0-2. Well, that was something.
It was remarkable.
I mean, even if you discount the fact that it's his second start after missing more than a year, it was one of the most dominating pitching performances I think we've ever seen. And, you know, the reason why he's got a pitch limit on him is because he hasn't thrown enough pitches to be ready to go 100 pitches, and maybe he tired a bit the last couple of batters. But up until that point, I'm not sure I've seen anything like that.
Maybe a hitter who's having a really good year got him. You know, that can happen as well. But that's the most imperfect, perfect 6 innings, 5 2/3 innings I've seen.
I mean, I haven't seen any historical context for that. But the fact that the first 18 sliders that the Braves swung at were all swung and missed, I have to think has got to be some kind of, if not a record, then something close to it.
But even though this is a Brave team that leads the world in strikeouts, it's still remarkable what he did. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
He threw 2 curveballs, and otherwise it was all fastballs and sliders. It's funny how he kept shaking off Nito when he wanted to change up.
And the Bravos are back in this game, by the way.
But the Mets have been very good late attacking on runs.
Marte fouls off the slider. Spencer Strider got knocked out in the third. 2 2/3, 4 runs, 6 hits. Dylan Lee got around trouble. Gets loaded the bases in the fourth, but didn't score. They scratched out a run in the fifth against McHugh. A good trip around the bases from McNeil. And now trying to start it in the sixth. Marte pops one up. Adrianza and Olson, and it's Adrianza reaching out to grab it. 1 out. Oh yeah, there's been hitting in this game too. The high-speed hitting. Mark Canha's 2-run double in the third, the hardest hit ball in this game.
And you know, Buck, it's Minter getting up for the Bravos, but Buck Showalter, who Canha's been struggling, he's been kind of thrust now with the new pickups at the All-Star break into a platoon role, and he's been struggling at the plate. And what does Buck do? He puts him in the lineup today against a right-hander, and he rewards Buck. And this is what Buck has done all year. He's a great, I think, confidence instiller. Shows confidence in his players.
Lindor is 2 for 3 today. He pulls that one, and a tough hop knocked down by Olson. And he makes the play to McHugh for the second out. Olson playing right along the line, and that was the right place to be. Hard hit ball by Lindor.
Well, got a couple gold gloves, knocked it down.
I've said it before. We've heard many managers talk about using the entire roster. He's the only one I've met who's done it.
He has all year. It hasn't really mattered who's been on the roster, right? Whether it's a Nick Plummer or a Khalil Lee or Patrick Mazeika, all those guys who've been called up in the bullpen. There's Pete Alonso. For the third straight game, he got the Mets scoring started. He hit a ground ball off the third base bag that went for a double that drove in 2 runs in the third, giving him 95 runs batted in for the year. No Braves pitcher has had a 1-2-3 inning today. McHugh's got a chance for that. Darren Ruff, who pinch hit for Vogelbach when they had the left-hander in the game in the fourth, is now on deck. Out to right field. Grossman got a late start, but comes in to get it, and that retires the side. McHugh sets the Mets down 1-2-3 onto the 7th, 5-2 New York.
It's presented by PointsBet. Mets before the game -140 to win. Right now, look at that. -65.36. Do the odds makers know Jacob deGrom's not in the game anymore? I know Jacob deGrom's not in the game anymore, and that's why I can speak now, because I didn't want to interrupt when he was going through just such an otherworldly performance again. And maybe there's a chance now that some of his fielders get some work as well. No ground balls hit today to Luis Guillorme, but now that there may be, I can answer a question you guys had earlier in the series. You talked about Luis Guillorme's third base mitten. Was he wearing a third baseman's glove, or was it a middle infielder's glove? And it turns out that Guillorme is using a middle infielder's glove at the hot corner. He said last year he tried a bigger glove, a 1/4 of an inch bigger, at third base, but he thought that the webbing was too big, and he felt like he had to feel around to actually grip the baseball when he was trying to make the transfer. So he feels perfectly comfortable just using his regular mitt at third base as well.
Lined over short, and a base hit for Austin Riley to start the 7th inning against Joely Rodriguez. So Rodriguez came in to get the left-hand hitter out to end the 6th, gives up a hit to the right-hand batting Riley to start the 7th.
Well, the Mets have contained Riley.
And now the Braves are going to send up Ronald Acuna, who was a late scratch today. But with a left-hander in the game, Acuna will bat here against Joely. So Brian Snitker, with very few moves to make, makes a big one here in the 7th, down by 3 runs, in a spot where Acuna cannot tie the game.
And Joely has to pitch. You can't take him out. He's got to face 3 batters. So it's the right move. One swing gets him back in the game.
Acuna 8 for 18 in this series, and he takes a fastball for a strike, 0-1. Acuna facing Joely Rodriguez for the first time. They scratched him late with what they call lower body soreness. You have to assume that means his knee, which was surgically repaired last year, which has given him trouble from time to time. Flies this one out to center. Should be playable for Nimmo as he drifts onto the warning track to grab it. That ball carried well, but Nimmo makes the grab one away.
I did not think he hit the ball that well to go through almost 380 feet.
So a sigh of relief for Joely Rodriguez.
Thought he got under it. This ball just kept carrying.
So 1 out and 1 on. And here's William Contreras, who's been up twice, struck out both times against deGrom. Jake struck out 12 over 5 2/3. Wound up throwing 76 pitches. I don't ever recall seeing a pitcher strike out 12 batters and throw only 76 pitches.
It's been so long ago, but I remember that Dwight was the closest. The doctor, he would have games where he'd throw 100 pitches, strike out 15, and go 9. It was unbelievable.
And a foul tip held by Nido on the changeup from Rodriguez, 1-1. When you're a team like the Braves and you have been dominated the way deGrom dominated them, when you get him out of the game, is there almost a palpable sense of relief?
Of course. I mean, no one can feel like they've got the answer to how to counter. I mean, shoot, he mowed that 2 strikeouts every inning. All the swings and misses on sliders, and we didn't count fastball swings and misses. I mean, there's a lot of swings and misses. So go in there and have a beer on me. I'm buying.
25 swings and misses all told on his 76 pitches. 18 on the slider, 7 on the fastball. Robbie Grossman, better right-hand hitter than left, so having the left-hander in the game plays into his hands. He's on deck. Nobody up in the Mets bullpen. Looks like they're saving Ottavino and Diaz for the last 2 innings. 2-2 to Contreras, and he just got a piece of that changeup to stay in the at-bat.
I think the difference from yesterday and today, Scherzer left with only 6 outs needed. because they knocked out DeGrom or he left the game in the 6th inning. It gives them a little more wiggle room with the bullpen to maybe try to come back.
Riley at first and 1 out. And Contreras goes down swinging on the changeup. Joely is relentless with that changeup. That's the 2nd out of the inning, his first strikeout.
Kept it down.
So now Robbie Grossman, who was the late addition to the lineup when Acuna was scratched, forced to bat from his weaker side against DeGrom, hit one ball hard, a ground ball that Lindor was able to handle and struck out in the 5th. Now it turns around about right-handed. He's a .354 hitter from this side.
Well, what's interesting about this inning and pitching Rodriguez is that this is the one inning where the Braves have the advantage, right? Riley starts out, Acuna comes in to pinch hit, Contreras is up the right-handed hitter, and Grossman's a better right-handed hitter. So advantage Braves in this inning, and if Rodriguez can get through it, pretty special.
Then you got the lower part of the order coming up against whether it's Lugo or Ottavino. Yep. And then you've got Diaz ready for the top of the order in the 9th. At least that's the way Buck is probably drawing it up in his mind. And we're assuming all those guys are available. They all pitched yesterday. Lugo got 4 outs in the first game. So did Ottavino. Diaz had a 2-out save in game 1. 2-1 to Grossman.
Well, he's got no one up in the bullpen, so he's showing confidence in Joely. It's your inning.
Either that, or he has guys who are not available, and
that's probably my feeling.
Yeah, trying to husband his resources. Boy, another good changeup by Joely, and he gets a swing and miss, 2-2.
The deception comes from Joely. That large wingspan, lots of arms and legs coming at you, very much like Madison Bumgarner when you think of the way he comes at you.
That's a great call. He's thrown 14 pitches, 11 changeups. 2-2 coming. Fouled away. When you throw the changeup that many times, does there come a point at which the deception lessens?
I don't think so, because the only problem for him is he gets in bad counts. If he's in good counts, that puts him in a position where they have to swing the bat. And he's been very good at keeping that ball down. Changeup down is the key. It's hard to do anything with the ball down.
2-2 to Grossman. And runs inside with a fastball, and it's 3-2.
Now, he had him set up. If he had thrown that fastball for a strike, he would have taken it for strike 3. And I said Bumgarner because of the way he just has this big wingspan, shows you his number, throws from about the first base dugout. Little different finish, but.
Riley gets set to run, 3-2, 2 out. Alonso holding him on. And Grossman goes down swinging on the changeup, and Joely Rodriguez pumps his fist. Back-to-back strikeouts to finish off the top of the 7th. Stretch time, 5-2 New York. He was everything you could have possibly asked for. Jacob DeGrom in his first Citi Field start in exactly 13 months. Retired the first 17 batters. Struck out a dozen. Weakened a bit in the 6th. A walk and a 2-run homer by Dansby Swanson got the Braves on the board. But DeGrom, the story today, he was nothing short of magnificent. Tomorrow it's the Cincinnati Reds coming to town. 6:30 the coverage on SNY, and the Verizon player profile for this series against the Reds is Justin Dunn, who was just called up by the Reds. He's going to make his Cincinnati Reds debut tomorrow night against the team that drafted him in the first round in 2016 out of Boston College.
Wow. What a moment for Justin. Traded right into Diaz and Kellenic deal.
And then traded this spring from the Mariners to the Reds in that Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez trade. And so after 6 years following his draft in the first round, when he dreamed of pitching from the mound at Citi Field, he'll finally get to do it tomorrow night wearing the opposing uniform. A.J. Minter on for his second appearance in the series.
He is having an outstanding year, Minter. Got the fastball, good slider. Used to have a great change, but more of a fastball slider now.
On Friday night, when the Mets were down 8-0 and were rallying, it was Minter who really changed the tenor of the game. Robbie Grossman has moved to left field. Ronald Acuna, after pinch hitting, stays in right field. Mets cut it to 8-5. They had 2 men on in the 6th, got the tying run to bat, and they brought in Minter, who struck out Mark Canha, then worked a 1-2-3 7th, and basically calmed the game down. It would have been a comeback for the ages. It was pretty exciting as it was, but Minter made sure it didn't happen. Darren Ruff struck out as a pinch hitter in the 4th in the DH spot. That was against the left-hander Lee, now facing the left-hander Minter. And Ruff takes a fastball high, 2-2. Braves bullpen got beat up yesterday to the tune of 7 runs over 5 1/3 in the 2 games. Ruff flies one to center field. Harris back. Should have room. 1 out.
Just missed that.
The way the ball's been carrying, I don't know when it sounds good off the bat. You don't know how far it's going to go.
Hey, remember the other day when the Cardinals called Paul DeJong back to the majors and he had a big day against the Yankees, and we said maybe he thought it was the Mets? He did it again today.
Maybe he's just good against New York teams.
Homer, 4 RBIs. Cardinals beat the Yankees 12-9. That's 7 straight wins for St. Louis and 5 straight losses for the Yankees. It was McNeil who doubled to right, scored a run in the 5th. And he hits this one out to center, and Harris moving a couple of steps over, 2 out. How about this? If the Mets win today with the Yankees having lost, I think those 2 teams will have the same record.
How about that?
Adonis Medina is up in the Mets bullpen, so perhaps one or more of the Mets frontline relievers is down today. Again, Lugo, Ottavino, Diaz all pitched in the first game yesterday. May pitched in the nightcap. There's Canha, who had the 2-run double in the 3rd inning that knocked the starter Spencer Strider out of the game. Medina was just called up between games in the doubleheader yesterday when David Peterson, after pitching the first game, got sent down. Peterson will prepare himself to pitch in the next doubleheader for the Mets a week from Saturday. Good cutter by Minter, and it's 1-1.
So really, Buck is looking for one more inning to take it to the big guy. I'm wondering if there's a snag in the 8th inning. Would he use Diaz for a 4 or 5 out save?
If Diaz is available, I mean, we don't know who is and isn't. All you can assume is that with Medina up, that between Ottavino, Lugo, and Diaz, that 2 or 3 of them are not available. Throw to first by Swanson gets Canha. We'll find out. Right now we're going to the 8th with the Mets up 5-2. Coming up tonight at 10 o'clock on Geico Sports Night, much more on DeGrom's game today, and will Steve Gelbs wear his tux to the studio tomorrow? Well, Joely Rodriguez is still in as we start the top of the 8th. Joely's already worked an inning and a 3rd in relief. So it's clear that some of Buck Showalter's late inning stalwarts are not available today.
And is that Diaz up in the bullpen? I believe it is.
Now that's Medina.
Medina, okay. So Buck showing confidence. And Joely, who really has had a dearth of appearances for a while.
I think he's showing confidence in who he has available.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to go with who's available. And so far, Joely has done fine. Facing the lower third of the order, Ozuna, Harris, and Adrianza. In each of the 7 innings in this game, the Braves have struck out twice. DeGrom struck out 12. Joely struck out 2 in the 7th. And a good changeup to strike out Ozuna, and that's how the 8th begins.
He's got a great changeup today.
15 strikeouts for Met pitchers, 1 shy of their season high.
All that motion, it just never gets there. I mean, can you get a better spot than that with a changeup? Shin high, outside corner.
So now Michael Harris, who performed the incredible feat of hitting 2 foul balls against Jacob deGrom's sliders today. The only 2 times that the Braves made contact against Jake's slider in the game after he got swings and misses on the first 18. But that strikeout ended, that at bat ended in a strikeout as well. Who's he talking to?
To the fans.
How can they hear him?
Just, you know, what do you want me to see? I can't see that. What do you want from me? I'm trying to play over here. We have the same thing in the booth here.
There's another good changeup. This one running in on the lefty, and it's 1-2. What do you mean we have the same thing in the booth here?
Well, many times people will come up and they want to talk while we're trying to do the close, and we let Keith take care of it.
Well, fortunately, we have headsets on. We can pretend not to hear
That's
them.
right.
1-2 coming. And Harris goes down swinging on the changeup. 16 strikeouts for Met pitchers. Joely Rodriguez has fanned 4 in a row.
Wow. You never liked that changeup down and in, did you, Keith?
Never got a changeup from left-handers. Ron, to be honest with you, only guy that was it Greg Matthews with the Cardinals?
Yes.
He was the first one that threw me a left-hander that threw me a changeup.
The best one he's had all year long.
Now A-Ray Adrianza will turn around about right-handed, and he takes a changeup for a strike. Just a relentless series of changeups from Joely Rodriguez. "29 pitches, 21 changeups." That's grounded down to third, handled by Guillorme. Low throw picked out by Alonso. Side retired. Joely Rodriguez, 2 1/3 in relief. Mets lead at 5-2. New York 8-1-1 digging deep moment of the game. Well, it was a series of moments. 76 pitches, 12 strikeouts. 2 every inning. In his second start in 13 months. I mean, come on.
Well,
Left shaking his head because he gave up a walk after retiring 17 in a row and then a 2-run homer. 54 double-digit strikeout games, trying to run down Seaver for the club record. His 200th career start today, and with the 12 strikeouts now has 1,523, the most any pitcher has ever had through 200 starts. Edwin Diaz getting ready for the 9th inning.
yeah, I had a hunch he was going to use Edwin because Buck wants 4 out of 5 from these guys. Take a commanding 6.5 game lead.
Tough hop off the mound for Swanson, but he handles it and throws out Guillorme on the first pitch thrown by Raisel Iglesias.
I mean, what made that play difficult is it hit the side of the mound. So not only did it change direction, as you see Iglesias' numbers, boy, he was good on Friday night, outstanding. It also held it in the air. Swanson had to go halfway into the outfield to make that play.
There's the numbers on Iglesias, who made his Braves debut here on Friday night, and it was very impressive coming over from the Angels. There's Tomas Nido, who's 2 for 3 today. So we did a little research on DeGrom. 76 pitches, 12 strikeouts. since they started tracking these things, which I don't even know when that would have been, it's only the third time a pitcher has had 12 or more strikeouts with 76 or fewer pitches. The first time in 2018, Chris Sale, 12 strikeouts on 68 pitches. And the second time was this year, Jesus Luzardo for the Marlins struck out 12 on 76 pitches. Luzardo, by the way, pitched a gem today against the Cubs, 7 innings, 1 hit. That's a big plus for them that he is back healthy. 2-0 to Nido with Brandon Nimmo on deck. Well, Diaz getting ready for the ninth, and he'll be facing the top of the Braves batting order. Swanson, Olson, and Riley. And remember, Acuna is in the 4-hole after pinch hitting and staying in the game.
And the Braves will continue on a road trip here. They have to go to Boston for 2, and then they go down for 4 in Miami, and then they come home against your lovable Metropolitans down in Atlanta for 4.
It starts a week from tomorrow. Bounce foul. 1988 pitch tracking started.
88?
Yeah. So we're talking about 34 years.
It would have missed the Doctor's big year in '85 because he had some. I was charting those games. I wish I still had the charts like you keep all your charts.
You know, just ticked it off the end of the bat. Inspects it to make sure it's not broken. Mauricio Iglesias has been a terrific closer the last few years in Cincinnati and then this year in Anaheim. And he runs one inside to strike out Nido for the second out. Good looking fastball. Well, when we're done here, it's PointsBet post-game live. Gary Apple, who celebrates a birthday tomorrow, make sure to send him wishes. And Todd Zeal will be along with all the interviews, the analysis, the highlights, all the stuff. PointsBet post-game live coming up after the game right here on SNY. Yeah, Gary's got to be at least 45 now.
Oh, not a day over.
Gary 45, really? I would have thought he was older.
Well, maybe he is. He looks good, though. He's able to wear much skinnier clothes than we do.
Yes. It's all that basketball he plays.
Rolled to the right side. Olson with the toss to Iglesias, and it's a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the 8th. And now, with the Mets looking to take 4 or 5 for the Braves, it is time to sound the trumpets. '22. Edwin Diaz averaging more than 2 strikeouts per inning, 25 saves on the season, and he'll try and make it 26 this afternoon.
You know, Gary, there's a lot of great closers in the game, but every once in a while, one will emerge as having an historical season, and that's where Diaz is right now.
Well, this is a big one right here to really put an exclamation point on this series. The Mets will take then a 6.5 commanding lead in the division, 7 in the loss column, and really send the Braves reeling on the Boston.
1.42 ERA, 44 in the third innings, 88 strikeouts. Will face the top of the Atlanta batting order in the 9th.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Braves make a stand here, though.
Met pitchers have already struck out 16 today, which matches a season high. And now you've got the irrepressible strikeout force of Edwin Diaz to try and close this game out.
And before Diaz throws a pitch, how about the job by Joely Rodriguez?
Yes.
To get to this point. Don't forget that.
Yep.
Well, the Mets were clearly short in the bullpen today with Ottavino and Lugo and May all having pitched yesterday. So Joely turned in 2 1/3 innings, his longest outing of the year. No runs, 1 hit, 4 strikeouts. Dansby Swanson leads off in the 9th. He hit the 2-run homer that chased DeGrom in the 6th. And he takes a slider off the plate, ball 1.
Guys, that's a rare first pitch ball for Edwin Diaz. One of the main reasons for his success this season, the highest first pitch strike percentage in Major League Baseball, 71.4%, an 11.2% jump from a year ago.
So he threw a second pitch strike. This has been an electrifying afternoon at Citi Field. Sparked by DeGrom, and now Diaz trying to put on the finishing touches. Swanson went around on the half swing, and it's 1-2.
Well, I think Met fans realize they've got something special with these 26 players out there.
One-two coming. Well, they've got the best 1-2 punch in baseball at the starts of games in Scherzer and DeGrom, and they've got the greatest force in baseball at the end of games in Edwin Diaz, and a whole lot in between. Olson and Riley to follow. 2-2 to Swanson. Struck him out. 17 strikeouts from Met pitchers today. One down in the ninth.
A lot of hitters looking really, really bad on their strikeouts. Just completely fooled.
It's that little down break on that slider.
It's the variance of the slider, though, Gary. Sometimes it goes down. Sometimes it sweeps across.
Yep.
That one stayed inside the Swanson. You just don't know.
There's Matt Olson, 0 for 3. And a backdoor slider for a strike, 0-1. Diaz got 2 outs in the day game yesterday after things started to get a little jello-y. And he misses away with the slider, 1-1. So Diaz pitching for the third time in the series. He got his first career 6-out save on Thursday, a 2-out save yesterday, looking for a conventional 3-out save today. And Olson takes that slider off the plate, and it's 2-1. Austin Riley on deck. Ronald Acuna, if anybody gets on. Swing and a miss at the fastball. Dialed it up to 101.
With life.
Everything away from Olson, and it's 2-2.
Well, that fastball really ran away from Olson.
Two. Dialed away, 102 miles an hour, so he matches DeGrom's hardest offering of the night. How often do you have 2 guys in the same game bookending with 102? Struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Diaz, and the Braves are down to their final out in this series.
18 punch-outs.
2 an inning.
Well, Seaver struck out 19 in 1970. David Cohn struck out 19 in 1991.
Oh, the Mets are giving the tomahawk chop to the Braves.
Here's Riley. And he swings and misses with a slider. 0-1. Riley's 1 for 3 and a base hit against Rodriguez in the 7th. He was the last base runner. Swing and a miss. And the Braves are down to their final strike.
Feed him another one. He's flying that shoulder open. And we can all go home. Looking at 12-4 since the All-Star break.
Got him looking, and the ball game is over. Edwin Diaz strikes out the side of the ninth. 19 strikeouts from Met pitchers. Only the 3rd time in their history they've ever done that. The Mets celebrate the return to Citi Field of Jacob deGrom, who throws 5 2/3 perfect innings. And the Mets take 4 of 5 from the Braves to stretch their lead to 6.5 games in the National League East as they beat Atlanta 5-2.
Well, what an effort by the starting staff in this series. The bobble by Walker, but today with deGrom, what a job giving the ball to Rodriguez, who is as sharp as he's ever been. And Diaz just continues the historic season.
Well, you said it, Ron. Joely Rodriguez in relief, 2.5, 2 1/3 scoreless. Huge for the bullpen. Diaz, how many times has he struck out 3 guys in an inning to close the game? I've lost count. This team's on a roll. They're playing great ball. You love it while you can, Met fans. They are rolling.
Mets have won 12 of their last 14 games. They get their 70th win of the season, 70-39. Edwin Diaz with a typically dominant performance at the end after Jacob deGrom, in his first Citi Field appearance in 13 months, was absolutely phenomenal, retiring the first 17 batters and striking out a dozen as the Mets put the finishing touches on an enormous series win as they take 4 of 5 from the Braves. They'll have 4 return meetings in Atlanta starting a week from tomorrow. For every Mets win, the Amazing Mets Foundation is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cats Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwell.edu/cats. With today's win, the total contribution so far this season is $175,000. Edwin Diaz putting on the finishing touches, pounding the outside corner. 19 strikeouts from Met pitchers today. deGrom, Rodriguez, Diaz. What a performance. 5-2 the final. We'll be back from Citi Field in just a moment. The Braves 2, a dominant pitching performance by Jacob deGrom, who retired the first 17. Joely Rodriguez, his longest outing of the year. And Edwin Diaz, his typical brilliance, striking out the side. 19 strikeouts in all. We saw things today we've never seen before.
Yeah, it just to see how effective deGrom was in only his second start. I thought his first start was good, but it wasn't certainly a vintage deGrom, but he was right on point today. And to go through where we got to, where it was 18 for 18, thrown swung sliders, and they did not make contact, is something I've never seen before.
And the Mets are red hot right now. That 4-run third inning, a bloop single by Lindor, led off with a Nimmo base hit, and then Pete hitting the ground ball that hits the third base bag, goes up in the air. 2 runs wind up scoring. It's a double down the left field line. Those are the kind of breaks when you're hot and you got to ride that horse until it stops. But they are red hot right now. They have sent a message to not only the National League East, to the National League and Major League Baseball.
Mets are now 12-2 in their last 14 games. They've got a 6.5 game lead over the Braves now. The Reds are coming to town tomorrow night. Chris Bassett against the former first-round draft pick by the Mets, Justin Dunn, who makes his Reds debut. Carlos Carrasco and Mike Minor on Tuesday. Taijuan Walker goes in the day game Wednesday. Those are your City probables for the upcoming series. But what a series the Mets just concluded. 4 of 5 from the Braves. Diaz front and center. Mets win at 5-2. More coming up from Citi Field in 2 shakes. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Spectrum. Switch and save with Spectrum Mobile. Nationwide 5G included. Restrictions apply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com. By Toyota, the summer starts here at Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. By Geico, switch today and see all the ways you could save. And by New York 811 for digging projects big or small. Know what's below. Always make the right call. Call or click 811 before you dig. Final score this afternoon, the Mets 5, the Braves 2. Now the Reds come to town for 3 starting tomorrow night. Chris Bassett against Justin Dunn. Our coverage begins at 6:30 tomorrow night right here on SNY. Quite a day at Citi Field today. Jacob deGrom and Edwin Diaz front and center. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. Time for PointsBet Post Game Live here at Gary Apple and Todd Seal. Guys.